our visit to the Campion Distillery, it seems fitting to go for a nice stroll in the park. Here, luscious plants, herbs and botanicals are in plain sight, in an environment that is unique and spectacular. Some of the botanicals inside the gin we just sampled are so special that people the world over come to see and study them, and I'm sure learning more about them will enhance the experience of tasting this gourmet product. Keith, good afternoon.
Alex, how are you? Welcome to the Alameda.
Thank you very much, thank you. I wanted to visit today because we've been to Spirit of the Rock Distillery, where they produce Campion gin, and they have plans to produce now a candy tough gin. And I'm sure you are familiar with those two names because are two of the botanicals.
Wonderful. I mean, those are two of our most special plants in Gibraltar, and we're going to see them both.
All right, let's go then.
Let's go.
Right.
Okay, Alex, so this is our Mediterranean rock garden. We grow plants from throughout the Mediterranean here, but this is where all of the Gibraltarian specialities are grown and displayed.
So you got plants here that are autochthonous to the rock, and you cannot find elsewhere.
Absolutely, plants that are endemic, as we say, plants that grow on the rock of Gibraltar and nowhere else in the world. The most special of those is without a doubt the Gibraltar Campion, so rare that it was thought to be extinct during the late 1980s and early 1990s. But we have other species too, such as the Gibraltar candy tuft, probably the most attractive of our special plants. Not endemic to Gibraltar, it's also found in the Tangier Peninsula, including a small limestone outcrop in Ceuta. But Gibraltar's, without a doubt, this very lovely plant's global stronghold. The population in Gibraltar is healthier than anywhere else in the world.
Okay, and the Campion, we can tell now that it's not in danger or extinction, or
it's a story of some success, but perhaps not full success, because the Campion was rescued from, I would say, almost certain extinction when finally, after 9 years of searching in vain, a small team of people from the Botanic Gardens and from the Gibraltar Ornithological and Natural History Society found 3 plants. They collected seeds from those plants, and we've been growing them by their hundreds here at the Alameda ever since. So is their future, is the species' future secure? Certainly in the gardens, and they're now grown at other gardens, including Kew Gardens in London. But we have tried reintroducing them to the wild, and although the plants will grow, the seeds don't seem to disperse, and you don't seem to see new seedling plants. Why is this? Well, perhaps it belongs to a different climatic period. We're talking about a plant that belongs to a group of species that is mainly restricted to higher mountains in Iberia and in North Africa, and this may be a relic of perhaps a cooler period of time.
So what I would say to people is you know, if you see a Campion, just leave it what it is. It's what it should be. Don't pick it. Don't, you know. Just,
Absolutely. If you are lucky enough to see a Campion in the wild, and in my entire life I have only ever seen one Gibraltar Campion in the wild, you should definitely leave it where it is and report its presence to us. Now, there are several other species of Campion in Gibraltar as well, but the Gibraltar Campion is obviously the most special one.
Let's have a look at it then.
There we go, mira, with a label and everything. This is the Gibraltar Campion. Not much to look at the moment. It flowers mainly during May. very pretty sort of white to pink flowers. And interestingly, even though all of the seeds all of the plants that we have are derived from only 3 plants, we have quite a range of flower colours, all the way from white through lilac to pink.
Right.
Attractive flower, sweetly scented, but mainly at night because it must be pollinated by nocturnal insects.
Okay.
In fact, in some species of Campion, the flowers only open at night. Not in ours, though.
So Peter at the distillery, he was explaining to us that he's producing a new gin called Candytuft, which is going to be more fresh, lighter, more of a summer gin, whilst the Campion is more of a robust gin. We have here some Candytuft. And it has flowered now, so it's got an earlier flowering than the Campion. Yeah?
It does. It flowers earlier than the Campion, usually during March, normally late March, early April. Partly because we're having such an early spring this year, we're lucky enough to see it in flower now.
Right.
And it's an extremely attractive flower. I mean, it's got a huge value as a garden plant, not just because it's special to Gibraltar, also because it's beautiful.
It's beautiful. And is it a very aromatic plant, or?
It's not a very aromatic plant. Interestingly, it belongs to a group of plants that have a very high nutritional value, the brassicas, the crucifers. So it's related, for example, to things like cauliflower, like broccoli, turnips.
Okay. These are only 2 of the autochthonous flowers or plants in flora in Gibraltar. I suppose there's a lot more.
There aren't. Gibraltar has around 670 species of plants growing in the wild. Some of those aren't native to Gibraltar. They're plants from other parts of the world that have been introduced to the rock. But the number of native species is close to 600. Not all of those are special to Gibraltar, and indeed Gibraltar, for such a small area, has a very large number of species that are special to it. So we have about 6 or 7 plants that are special to the rock, of which 1, maybe 2 grow in Gibraltar alone and nowhere else. And for such a small place, that is really quite something.
As you know, this program is Gourmet Getaways. It's got like a food and drink base. In many cultures, in many areas, they use what they grow, or they use the natural resources for the dishes, for the drinks. Have you got any records of doing that in Gibraltar with species that grow in Gibraltar?
We don't have records of many species being used, but actually until recently, possibly even nowadays, people used to go out and collect wild asparagus after the autumn rains. So that was quite popular, yeah.
So Keith, thank you very much for having us today here at the Alameda Gardens. I mean, I cannot stress enough what a beautiful place is. This is a jewel in the middle of Gibraltar. Everyone should come and visit because it's something great you have here.
I like to think so, Alex. I think these gardens are a real asset for the community, and why not come down and see those plants that are special to Gibraltar, that are just as Gibraltarian as us.
Exactly. Keith, thank you very much.
Pleasure as always, Alex. Thank you.
Trying local products and experiencing our local flora. What a fabulous blend. We hope you have enjoyed this week's gourmet suggestion and that you will join us again next week.